What if I told you that one man from a tiny Caribbean island, with just 180,000 people, changed the course of cricket history forever? A man who was overlooked, underestimated, and told he didn't belong, until he silenced every critic by leading his team to not one, but 2 World Championships when nobody believed it was possible. Today we revealed the untold story of cricket's ultimate underdog, Darren Sammy, the captain who transformed a fractured team into world champions against impossible odds. From humble beginnings to unimaginable wealth, from being disrespected to having a national stadium named after him while still active. In the next 25 minutes, you'll discover the shocking behind-the-scenes moments that the cricket world never showed you, the incredible family sacrifice that fueled his rise, and the secret business empire he's built that's worth millions. This isn't just another cricket story. This is the blueprint of how determination can transform an ordinary man into a legend. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the 3 leadership principles Sammy used that you can apply to your own life to achieve extraordinary success, plus the exact morning routine that Sammy credits for his mental fortitude during the toughest times of his career. Darren Julius Garvey Sammy was born on December 20, 1983, in Micode, Saint Lucia. His middle names Julius and Garvey pay homage to the famous Pan-Africanist Marcus Garvey, revealing the values instilled in him from birth. Saint Lucia, a small island nation in the eastern Caribbean with a population barely reaching 180,000, was hardly known for producing international cricket stars. With limited resources and facilities, just 3 proper cricket grounds on the entire island, the odds were already stacked against young Darren. Local cricket historians reveal that before Sammy, no Saint Lucian had even come close to representing the West Indies, making his dreams seem almost delusional to many around him. Growing up in a modest wooden house with unreliable electricity, Sammy developed his cricketing skills not on manicured grounds but on the beaches and backstreets of Saint Lucia. His father, Victor Sammy, worked 3 jobs as a fisherman by day, security guard by evening, and taxi driver on weekends, to support the family while encouraging his son's athletic pursuits. Despite financial constraints so severe that sometimes putting food on the table was a challenge, Victor would often sacrifice his own needs to purchase cricket equipment for Darren, once selling his prized fishing boat to buy Darren's first proper cricket bat, a Schlesinger V100 Mazd, a sacrifice that would eventually change the course of West Indies cricket history. Sammy's journey wasn't one of instant success. Unlike many cricket prodigies identified in their early teens, he remained largely unnoticed by national selectors until his late teens, frequently being told he was too stocky, too slow, and not athletic enough for international cricket. What set him apart wasn't raw talent alone, but an unwavering work ethic and determination that compensated for what he lacked in natural ability. Former coaches recall how young Sammy would be the first to arrive at practice at 5:30 a.m., running 5 miles to the ground since the family couldn't afford transportation, and would be the last to leave, meticulously working on his all-round skills under the Caribbean sun until darkness fell. In 2003, at age 19, Sammy made his first-class debut for the Windward Islands, after being rejected 3 times in previous trials. His performances were solid but unspectacular, averaging just 25 with the bat and taking wickets at an expensive average of 33. Cricket pundits didn't see a future West Indies captain or star, just another decent player from the islands. One prominent Caribbean cricket journalist even wrote, "Sammy lacks the natural gifts required for international cricket." But what they couldn't measure was the leadership quality bubbling beneath the surface, and the iron will that had been forged through years of overcoming obstacles that would have broken lesser spirits. The turning point came in 2007, when Sammy made his Test debut against England at Old Trafford, becoming the first Saint Lucian to represent the West Indies in international cricket, a moment that moved his father to tears and caused spontaneous celebrations across his home island. His debut was impressive, capturing 7 wickets for 66 runs in the second innings, the best figures by a West Indian fast bowler in England since Curtly Ambrose in 1991, but what followed was a period of crushing inconsistency that saw him in and out of the team, often playing one match before being dropped for the next 3. Many critics questioned his place in the squad, with former Australian captain Ian Chappell famously remarking that Sammy's medium-pace bowling would struggle to break a pane of glass and lack the menace required at international level. During this period, Sammy kept a notebook of every criticism, reading them before training sessions as motivation. By 2010, West Indies cricket had reached one of its lowest points, losing 18 of their previous 22 test matches and slipping to 8th in the ICC rankings. A team that once dominated world cricket with legends like Viv Richards, Malcolm Marshall, and Brian Lara had become fractured by internal conflicts, payment disputes with players threatening strikes 5 times in 3 years, and a perceived lack of professionalism that saw players consistently arriving late to training and matches. The cricket-loving Caribbean public was losing faith in their once mighty team, with attendance at matches dropping by 65% between 2005 and 2010. In a surprising and controversial move that sent shockwaves through the cricket world, Sammy was appointed captain of the West Indies team in October 2010, despite not being a regular in the playing 11, having played only 8 test matches and 41 ODIs. Cricket experts scoffed. Former players like Michael Holding publicly criticized the decision, calling it a joke, and fans were skeptical, with a poll in the Jamaica Gleaner showing 82% disapproval of his appointment. Caribbean cricket commentator Tony Cozier wrote, "The blind are now officially leading the blind." The consensus was clear: Sammy wasn't good enough as a player to warrant selection, let alone captaincy. His bowling average of 35 and batting average of 21 were among the worst statistics for any captain in cricket history. What followed was one of the most challenging periods any cricket captain has faced. Sammy inherited a team in disarray, with senior players often at odds with the cricket board and each other. Team meetings would frequently dissolve into heated arguments, with players from different islands prioritizing their territorial interests over team goals. Resources were limited. Ties. The West Indies Cricket Board was $30 million in debt, support was minimal, and expectations were low. Additionally, he had to justify his own place in the team while trying to rebuild a winning culture. "I felt like I was carrying the weight of every island on my shoulders," Sammy later revealed in a rare personal interview. The early days of his captaincy were marked by disappointing results and harsh criticism. West Indies lost 5 of their first 6 test matches under his leadership, including a humiliating defeat to Pakistan where they were bowled out for just 112 runs. Former West Indies greats openly questioned his tactical acumen and playing ability, with Viv Richards suggesting that captaincy seems several levels beyond his capability. The Caribbean media was unforgiving, with the Trinidad Express running the headline "Captain Calamity" after a series defeat to India. Lesser men would have crumbled under such pressure, but Sammy's unwavering belief and positive attitude became his shield. "Every night I would call my father," Sammy later revealed, "and he would remind me of the fishermen in Saint Lucia who faced storms but never turned back." Behind the scenes, Sammy was quietly transforming the team culture through a mixture of tough love and unwavering support. Former teammates reveal how he implemented a fine system for tardiness that applied equally to stars and newcomers, personally called players to discuss their roles, sometimes talking until 2 a.m. to resolve concerns. mediated conflicts between players and management, often serving as translator between Caribbean English and official board communications, and created an environment where young talents could flourish. Chris Gayle, initially skeptical of Sammy's leadership, later admitted, "He brought something we had lost: respect for the badge we wear." He emphasized discipline, punctuality, and professionalism, values that had eroded in West Indies cricket. Fitness tests became mandatory, with Sammy always scoring in the top 3 despite not being naturally athletic, leading by example. In his modest home in Saint Lucia, Sammy's family became his sanctuary from the cricket world's pressures. His wife Kathy managed the household while he traveled the globe for up to 280 days per year, ensuring their 3 children understood the sacrifices their father was making. She would record every match, editing out the negative commentary about her husband before allowing their children to watch. During rare breaks between tours, Sammy would dedicate all his time to family, often taking his children to the same beaches where he first learned to play cricket. "My family never saw me as the West Indies captain," he once said. "To them I was just daddy who happened to play cricket." This grounding influence proved crucial during the lowest moments of his captaincy. The financial aspects of Sammy's early career reflected the broader challenges facing West Indies cricket. Player contracts were inconsistent and among the lowest in international cricket. Sammy earned just $120,000 annually as captain, while his counterparts from India and England commanded over $1 million. Match fees were modest compared to other nations, and endorsement opportunities were limited to small local brands. Despite being captain, Sammy's income was a fraction of what captains from countries like India, Australia, or England commanded. To supplement his income, he would often coach local children during off-seasons, charging minimal fees just to cover expenses. His wife continued working as a school teacher throughout this period, ensuring financial stability for their family. The tide began to turn in 2012 when Sammy led the West Indies to the ICC World T20 Championship in Sri Lanka. Against overwhelming odds, bookmakers had listed them as 12-1 outsiders at the start of the tournament. Against all expectations, his team defeated the host nation in the final by 36 runs, with Sammy himself contributing crucial wickets in the quick-fire 26 runs off just 15 balls. The image of Sammy, tears streaming down his face as he lifted the trophy, became iconic, a symbol of perseverance rewarded. In his victory speech, he dedicated the win to every child in the Caribbean who has been told they aren't good enough. The celebrations in Saint Lucia lasted 3 days, with the Prime Minister declaring a national holiday in Sammy's honor. This victory transformed Sammy's standing in world cricket. No longer just the undeserving captain, he had proven his worth on the biggest stage. Endorsement offers began to flow in sports equipment manufacturers, telecommunications companies, and even luxury watch brands sought his association. His market value in T20 leagues around the world skyrocketed, with franchises in India, Pakistan, Australia, and Bangladesh offering contracts worth up to $300,000 for just 6 weeks of cricket. Brands recognized his authentic personality, million-dollar smile, and inspirational story as marketable assets. One advertising executive noted, "Sammy represents resilience and triumph, values that transcend cricket." The period between 2012 and 2016 saw Sammy establish himself as one of cricket's most respected leaders, though results in Test cricket remained inconsistent, leading to his removal as Test captain in 2015. He juggled the continuing challenges of West Indies cricket politics with growing commercial opportunities. His financial portfolio diversified as he invested in real estate across the Caribbean, purchasing beachfront properties in Saint Lucia, Barbados, and Antigua. at a time when prices were depressed following the global financial crisis. He established a sports foundation to nurture young talent in Saint Lucia, investing $500,000 of his own money to build facilities and provide equipment. Forming business partnerships in the hospitality sector, he became part owner of 3 boutique hotels catering to cricket tourism. Perhaps most significantly, he launched Sammy's Original, a clothing line celebrating Caribbean culture that would grow into a $1 million enterprise by 2020. In 2016, lightning struck twice when Sammy led the West Indies to another ICC World T20 title in India, defeating England in a dramatic final where they needed 19 runs from the last over might, achieved through 4 consecutive sixes by Carlos Brathwaite. The victory was even more remarkable given the team's troubled preparation, which included a payment dispute with the cricket board that nearly led to a player strike just days before the tournament. Players had been offered contracts worth just $6,900 per match, compared to Australia's players who received $23,000. In an emotional post-match speech that would ultimately cost him his captaincy, Sammy publicly called out the West Indies Cricket Board for their treatment of players, showing that his leadership extended beyond the boundary rope. "We had no uniforms, no proper preparation, but we came together when everyone doubted us," he declared, his voice breaking with emotion. This victory wasn't for the board, it was for the people of the Caribbean. This second World Championship cemented Sammy's legacy as one of cricket's great captains, one of only 2 captains to win the T20 World Cup twice. His achievements were recognized when the Saint Lucia government renamed their national stadium, the Darren Sammy National Cricket Stadium, an unprecedented honor for an active player. When informed of the decision, Sammy reportedly broke down in tears, remembering how he wasn't allowed inside that very stadium as a child, because he couldn't afford the entrance fee. The boy from Mikode now had his name etched in his country's landscape. Additionally, the government announced that a highway connecting the airport to the capital would be named Darren Sammy Drive, symbolic of his journey from obscurity to national hero. Following his controversial removal from captaincy, just 4 months after the World T20 triumph, a decision that sparked protests across the Caribbean, and his eventual international retirement in 2017, Sammy's business acumen came to the fore. Today, his investment portfolio includes luxury properties across the Caribbean, valued at over $7 million, stakes in sports academies in 5 countries, partnerships with tourism, ventures that employ over 100 Caribbean nationals, and strategic investments in sustainable energy projects, focusing on solar power for island communities. His Sammy's Original clothing brand expanded into a lifestyle empire with 15 stores across the region. His net worth, estimated at over $15 million in 2025, reflects his successful transition from player to businessman. "Cricket gave me a platform," he says, "but business is where I've built my legacy for my children." The Sammy residence in Saint Lucia stands as a testament to his success, a modern architectural marvel overlooking the Caribbean Sea, complete with a private cricket pitch, where he still practices and mentors young players, solar panels that generate 120% of the property's energy needs, and a museum displaying his cricket memorabilia open to the public once monthly. His car collection includes luxury vehicles that would have been unimaginable during his childhood in Mikode, a customized Range Rover with cricket-themed interior detailing, a Mercedes-Benz AMG GT with the license plate 2XCHM, and his prized possession, a vintage Aston Martin DB5 similar to the one in James Bond films. Yet he still keeps his first car, a 1998 Toyota Corolla, as a reminder of his humble beginnings. Despite his wealth, those close to Sammy emphasize his unchanged character. He remains accessible to fans, often spotted in local markets buying fresh produce himself, generous with his time for charitable causes, particularly those involving children with disabilities, and committed to developing cricket in the Caribbean. The Darren Sammy Foundation provides scholarships to 50 underprivileged children, covering education costs from primary school through university, equipment, and coaching to underprivileged children across the region, focusing not just on cricket but education and character development. His annual cricket camp attracts 300 children, who receive free coaching, meals and equipment. Perhaps most tellingly, he personally pays the medical bills for his first coach, now battling Parkinson's disease. A man who once waived his coaching fees when Sammy's family couldn't afford them. In recent years, Sammy has embraced roles as coach, commentator, and cricket ambassador with the same enthusiasm he brought to playing. In 2023, he was appointed head coach of the West Indies T20 team, immediately implementing his leadership philosophy of empowerment and accountability. His insights are sought by broadcasters during major tournaments, commanding fees of $15,000 per match, and his coaching philosophy, emphasizing mental strength and team unity over technical perfection, has influenced a new generation of players. His speaking engagements, commanding fees of up to $50,000 per appearance, and booked months in advance, focus on leadership, resilience, and the power of positive thinking. Corporate clients from banking to technology sectors report that his sessions on leading through turbulence transform team dynamics within their organizations. Family remains central to Sammy's life despite his global commitments. His children, now pursuing their own paths. His eldest son playing cricket for Saint Lucia's national team. His daughter studying sports management at the University of the West Indies, and his youngest son showing promise as a fast bowler, credit their father's example of dignity under pressure as their greatest inheritance. Kathy, his steadfast partner through the turbulent years of his captaincy, now joins him in philanthropic efforts and business ventures, serving as CEO of the Sammy Foundation. Their relationship, spanning over 20 years, is described by friends as a true partnership. "She was my captain at home," Sammy often jokes, making the tough decisions while I was away. For his 40th birthday, she surprised him by gathering every coach who had believed in him throughout his journey, from his primary school physical education teacher to his first international coach. The cricket world has come full circle in its assessment of Sammy. Critics who once questioned his abilities now acknowledge his exceptional leadership, with Michael Holding, one of his fiercest critics, admitting in a 2022 interview, "Sammy proved us all wrong. He led with heart when the team needed exactly that. The captain who shouldn't have been, is now studied in sports management courses at universities across the Caribbean and beyond, as an example of emotional intelligence and situational leadership." Former teammates speak of his ability to unite diverse personalities into a cohesive unit, a skill as valuable as any cover drive or Yorker. England's former captain Eoin Morgan cited Sammy as his inspiration for transforming England's white ball cricket culture, leading to their own World Cup success in 2019. Today Sammy's influence extends beyond cricket. He serves as a cultural ambassador for Saint Lucia, promoting tourism and investment in the Eastern Caribbean, helping attract over $200 million in foreign investment to the region. His social media platforms, with over 5 million followers combined, highlight Caribbean culture, sustainable development initiatives, and opportunities for the region's youth. He regularly meets with government officials across the Caribbean to discuss sports infrastructure development, having helped secure funding for 3 new cricket academies in underserved islands. Political analysts suggest a future in public service isn't out of the question, given his popularity and proven leadership.
with rumors of a potential run for Parliament in 2026 occasionally surfacing in local media. In cricket statistical records, Sammy's numbers may not rank him among the game's greatest all-rounders. His batting average of 21.68, in tests and bowling average of 35.79, are modest by international standards, but his legacy cannot be measured in averages and aggregates alone. His true impact lies in reviving West Indies cricket when it needed leadership most, in giving hope to small nations with big dreams, and in showing that character can triumph over criticism. As legendary West Indian commentator Tony Cozier, who had once been among his harshest critics, said shortly before his death, Sammy's greatest achievement wasn't winning trophies, but restoring pride in West Indies cricket. The records that truly define Sammy are these: the first Saint Lucian to play international cricket, the captain who led West Indies to 2 World T20 titles, the first cricketer to have a national stadium named after him while still playing, and a pioneer who showed that effective leadership transcends statistical greatness. His story represents the quintessential Caribbean narrative, small island resilience transforming limited resources into global success through determination and cultural confidence. In an era where cricket increasingly favors wealthy nations with enormous resources, Sammy's achievements remind us that heart, character and leadership can still triumph. His journey from the beaches of Micode to cricket's biggest stages serves as a powerful reminder that with determination, resilience and positivity, limitations can be transformed into launching pads for extraordinary achievement. In a region where cricket is more than a sport, it's a vehicle for national pride and identity. Sammy's contributions extend far beyond boundaries and runs. Every child in Saint Lucia now grows up believing that reaching the pinnacle of world sport is possible, regardless of resources or background. As one young Saint Lucian cricketer put it, "Before Sammy, we had dreams. After Sammy, we have belief." As cricket evolves in the age of T20 leagues and commercial opportunities, Sammy has positioned himself at the intersection of the sport's tradition and its future. His investments in cricket academies focus on developing not just technical skills but the mental fortitude and professional attitudes required in modern cricket. These academies have already produced 5 international players from previously overlooked islands. Former students speak of his emphasis on creating complete cricketers who are also well-rounded individuals prepared for life beyond the game. Cricket ends, he often tells his young protégés, but character lasts forever. Darren Sammy's story isn't just about cricket, it's about defying expectations, leading with heart, and transforming criticism into fuel for success. From the beaches of Saint Lucia to the pinnacle of world cricket, his journey reminds us that true leadership isn't measured by statistics, but by impact. As promised, here are the 3 leadership principles that define Sammy's success and his powerful morning routine. First, authentic leadership begins with self-belief. When the world said he didn't belong, Sammy's unwavering confidence in his purpose never faltered. Second, unite before you conquer. Before winning trophies, Sammy rebuilt team culture and created an environment where talents could flourish despite differences. Third, leadership is service. Sammy's greatest strength wasn't his cricket skills but his willingness to put the team's needs above personal glory. And finally, the morning routine that fortified his mindset. 30 minutes of meditation focusing on gratitude, followed by visualizing successful performance, then writing 3 daily intentions in a journal he's kept since his captaincy began. This exact routine, practiced without fail, even on match days, became the foundation of his mental resilience. These principles transformed a struggling cricket team into the world champions. Imagine what they could do in your life. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their limitations don't define their potential. Hit the subscribe button now, and click the notification bell to explore more untold stories of sporting legends who changed the game forever. And leave a comment below sharing which leadership principle resonated most with you, or if you'll try Sammy's morning routine yourself. Remember, the world will always have critics ready to tell you what you can't do. But as Darren Sammy proved, with determination and the right mindset, you can rewrite any script you've been handed.